one of the most useless advice that people can give you is, hey, you just gotta believe in yourself. Hey, just trust yourself. Hey, just be confident, Believe in yourself, man. How often have you heard that? If you're like me, you've heard that millions of times. You've read it, you've seen meme about it, your friends, your family, everybody throws that. It's nice to say, but nobody tells you, hey, here's how to do it. When you're struggling with social shyness or anxiety or self-doubt or those insecurities, right, that affect your life so much, it's nice to say, hey, just believe in yourself. But it doesn't mean shit until you know what you can do, how to break free. And in my life, I had to learn this the hard way. I had to learn to trial and errors. I had to learn to experience. I had to really make it, find the formula, apply it. And since then, I was able to help so many of my clients. And if I have to summarize it, if I have to keep it very small, the one thing that helped me the most, the biggest lesson I learned in my journey toward becoming more confident, more assertive, more free, is self-acceptance. You cannot have self-love without self-acceptance. You cannot believe in yourself. You cannot create that confidence. You cannot have that self-expression. You cannot become your most authentic, confident self without self-acceptance. Because think about this, what you resist will persist. And we all have a deep need to feel appreciated, to feel important, to feel special, right? This is the ego's deepest desire. But our deepest fear is to be the opposite, to feel worthless, to be embarrassed, to lose face, all these type of things, right? That feeling we dislike so much. So our ego naturally wants to hide everything that can make us feel vulnerable, everything that can make us appear weak, everything that we think people will reject us or laugh at us or, make fun of us. We feel very embarrassed, very vulnerable. Nobody wants to appear weak and vulnerable. So we make patterns of withdrawing that information and only presenting what is good, nice, shiny, beautiful, the wins and so on. And you end up with places like social media who are full of shit, distorting reality, where people only show you the beautiful masks that they have and all the beautiful makeups and layers of filters and fakeness that they have. But if you see them in realness, it's mostly empty, it's mostly fake, it's mostly different, right? A lot of people who appear to have the perfect life suffer so much behind all of that. The reason is why is that? Why do we struggle so much to accept certain things? Well, because it's painful. Well, because it's not easy, because it's uncomfortable, because we resist, right? And so let me give you some example from my own personal life, right? When I started my business, my coaching journey, right, many years ago, financially was struggling because when you become self-employed, you become fully dependent on your making money for survival. So I needed to find a side income, something that can alleviate that kind of pressure. And I decided to start teaching English, which was completely a new experience, something I've never envisioned or imagined doing in my life before. But the challenge was that I felt like it was something to be embarrassed for. Not because of the teaching role or anything like that, but because what it meant to me. You see, I thought I should be already well off, I should be already successful, I should be already in a position where my business is doing well, where I don't need that job. So what are people gonna say? What are my clients gonna say if they know I have a side income and so on? Who is gonna work with me if I have a side income? So I had this story of shame and embarrassment and insecurity. So it was nothing to do with the side income because factually, a lot of people were impressed of the dedication and the hard work and the commitment. But as long as for me, it didn't mean that and it was a weakness and I was not at peace with it, meaning I didn't accept it, meaning I was resisting it, it was a big anchor. It was an anchor to my expansion. It was an anchor to not creating the abundance that I want and creating a lot of insecurity. So this was something that was fueling that insecurity, another thing I needed to hide. Another example I can give you is when I started making those little videos, way back when on Facebook and so on. I didn't like my voice, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. And so for a long time, I wasn't posting those videos until I decided to, fuck it, let's do it. And I decided to, let me accept my voice, or I can always work on it. I can always improve my storytelling, my gesturing, my things. But let me just accept that this is where I'm starting from. In the same way where I just decided to accept, this is my life. This is where I am. This is what I'm doing. This is the risk I'm taking. And I'm going to appreciate that unique experience and what it's teaching me. And if some people don't like it, well, don't like it, hate it, I don't care. But the most important, again, was not people, it was not the job, it wasn't the situation, it was my own interpretation, making peace with it first. It was the same when I struggled with my body. I'm 1 meter 96. So for a lot of people, that is very tall. And for me, way back when I was a teenager, a young adult, it was too tall. It was a source of invulnerability. It was a source of insecurity. It was a source of shyness. The struggle is you cannot really hide that you're 1 meter 96 because you walk anywhere, people notice it. That's the first thing they notice usually, right? So it was always a source of struggle for me and anxiety until I learned that, you know what, if I am this way, I might as well love it, might as well accept it, or might as well make peace with my body. And the moment I did that, the moment I started to say thank you when people say, hey, you're so tall and so on, it started completely changing my self-image and my body image and started really becoming a source of confidence and a source of like, you know what, I'm at peace with my body. And that, man, I can tell you, is so priceless. Because it's not about like if you're overweight or some people are feeling like there's, I'm overweight, people won't like me, they judge me, I should not, I should not accept that I'm overweight, otherwise I will never, lose the weight that I want. That's wrong thinking. You cannot change anything that you resist. So right now, the best thing you can do, no matter where you are, is to accept where you are, who you are, what is happening in your life, even if it's painful, even if you don't like it. Because accepting it doesn't mean I give up and I stay here. Accepting it gives you power to move on. What you stop resisting can start dissolving. And now you can start, instead of fearing it and being obsessed and being obsessed and worried about it and so on, now you can start focusing on where you want to go, what you want to create. You can focus on becoming greater and losing the weight and whatever it may be. You cannot have self-love, that authentic confidence, that beautiful self-expression and letting you shine and so on, if you don't accept who you are, your flaws, your weaknesses, your talents, your ability, your body, your life, where you are, who you are, and so on. The more you try to hide certain things, the more your ego will weaponize this and create insecurities of this. If you ever seen the movie 8 Mile with Eminem, at the end there's this very famous scene, right, that rap battle at the end. And what he does there, if you haven't seen the movie, is that he's rapping, but he's rapping about him and he's laying everything, on a scene. My mom is this, I live on a freaking trailer, I have no money, my girlfriend cheated on me, whatever it was, right? He threw everything there. And so when the next guy came and was, supposed to beef him and rap on him, he had nothing to say because he used everything. So that other guy had no weapon left, because what do you throw at somebody who's at peace, who's okay, who's accepting his life? Doesn't make sense. And this is why he won, because he made peace with his own inner demon. And so there was nothing else to change, nothing else to do. And this is when he broke through all that loss and all that struggle and so on. So I'm sharing this story because it's a beautiful metaphor, it's a beautiful analogy that something is only going to be heavy for you because there is resistance in you, because there is a struggle in you. So you can start to make everything perfect around you and so on, but it's not gonna change until you make peace with that, whatever that thing is. And how do you find out what that is? I think if you're just being honest with yourself, it's easy enough to know. But here's something you can contemplate that can maybe help you spice it up a little bit. What is something that you really don't want other people to know about you or about your life? What is something that you really don't want other people to know about you or about your life? Because it will make you feel embarrassed or insecure or whatever, right? And I'm not saying go ahead and tell everybody, no. But this is your indication that there is something there you're resisting. So this is not about, again, like telling everybody and so on and like putting your laundry. That's not what I'm saying. It's all about you. Can I start to make peace with that? Can I start to accept that? Can I start to understand why this is making me feel a certain way? And when you go through the process of ultimately, you know what? I'm okay with that. And you have a feeling that changed, because you know when something has changed, when the feeling about it, the associated feeling about it has changed. You go from a contraction to something more light. You know that you're no longer seeing this in a negative way, so to speak, and now you have freedom about it. And this is the key to surely embrace yourself more, accept yourself more, which creates more self-love, which creates more self-confidence, which creates more self-belief, which just drop all of those dominoes and completely change who you are, how you express yourself, who you allow, how you allow your inner light, your inner confidence, your inner personality and magnetism to be carried in this world. That's my advice for you. This is what happened in my life. This is a process that's constantly ongoing, right? But it is such a liberating concept, and it's so much more powerful than, hey, just believe in yourself, hey, just be confident, right? That crap that everybody tells you. Look, if you're struggling with this, if you don't know where to start, if you're struggling with a lot of social anxiety or being too nice to others, and you're struggling with that confidence and you don't know where to start, you can book a one-on-one session down in the description with me, and together we can go and dissolve whatever is holding you back from living your best life. Let me know what you think down in a comment. Thank you for watching this video. Hit that subscribe button so that you can see all the other videos, guys. I will see you next time. Be well.